Good evening friends, let's learn how to make a 12 volt battery now from our LiFePO cells. These are my 4 LiFePO cells. What I've simply done is I've stuck these cells with a white tape, right, with a double-sided tape, okay, and I use this place so that it can be all straight, right. After sticking it with a double-sided tape, I covered it with a Teflon tape, right. So here we are, as we can see, positive, negative, right, both sides is covered like that, okay. This will be my battery. These are my raw cells, okay. I move these cells aside now, and here is our battery, okay. I simply brushed it a little with a sandpaper just to ensure that my spot welding works very well, right. Okay. I had used this wooden block just to ensure that all the cells are kept in order, okay. So they are absolutely perfect, right. I'm not using a cell spacer this time. That's because I'll be simply doing my spot welding using these nickel strips, okay. I'll be doing my spot welding using these nickel strips, positive, negative, okay. This is how it would be, yeah, effectively connecting them all together in such a way that this gives me 12 volts. Let's check the voltage of each cell. After that we'll check the voltage of all the batteries and all the cells together. Okay, I take my multimeter, put it on 20 volts, and let's start measuring each of this voltage. As we can see, I hope you can see this is 3.36 volts, right, 3.36, 3.37 volts. This is again 3.36, 3.37 volts, right. This is positive and negative. 3.36, 3.37 volts, again 3.36 and 3.37 volts, right. So all the batteries are working fine, they are in the right order, okay. I connected them negative, positive. This is how I connected them. Right now we will be going ahead and doing a spot welding. I'll show you the spot welder machine that I'm using for this. This is my professional spot welding machine, right. I'm gonna do a couple of spot welds just for testing purposes onto the wood out here and onto this nickel strips, okay. After that I shall continue and do the spot welding on my cells, okay. Here we are. Okay, this is my professional weld. As you can see, it's quite hot, but this is done and welded very well, yeah. I shall do the same spot welding out here now, okay. Let's keep our fingers crossed and let it work as well as it worked, okay. Always use a spot welder, never ever use soldering. This is not at all good for the cells, okay. Here guys, as you can see, this is my professional spot weld, okay. This is how I'll be welding all my cells and making this battery. Okay, right, fine. Now we'll connect our third weld. Okay, here we are. After that I'll show you why we connected in this way. Once we do that, our battery will be temporarily ready. It will only require some other connections and enclosure. We'll do that also. Yeah, we'll check it out. This is it, right? Here we are now. As we can see, let's start from here, negative to positive, positive to negative. Okay, from negative again it goes to positive, positive to negative, back to positive, positive to negative, and this will be our final output, right? So we connected these 4 cells in series, and now let's check the voltage of these 4 cells. This is our final negative, okay, and this is our final positive, and here we are. As we can see, it shows us 13.47 volts, right? This is how our 12 volt battery will work. Let me just check this out and show it to you. Yeah, 13.47 volts. Please have a look at this. Yeah, okay. Individually, if we see, here is our individual cells. This is showing me. Okay, this is it, right? Yeah, right. Now we need to connect the BMS to this. BMS is extremely important. Okay, that is a battery management system, right? This is a battery management system for our LiFePO cells, the 4 cells. This is 12 volt 5 ampere battery management system. So this will allow a maximum of 5 amperes output current. A BMS is extremely important because it appropriately ensures that all cells are rightly charged. I'll connect the BMS on this side. Okay, connect the 4 wires from the BMS, and all those 4 wires will go to different points onto the cells. Yeah, I'll connect it and show it to you right away. After that we'll take it up from here. For the next stage, we shall use a double-sided tape to connect the BMS onto our battery. Okay, we'll need a soldering wire, a soldering iron. This is our soldering iron, standard 30 watt soldering iron, some wires, yeah, and a wire stripper, right? This is what will be needed to connect our BMS onto our cells, okay, so that we can charge the cells appropriately. Okay, let's just do the connection. I'll just show it to you how we are doing the BMS connection. First I'll connect the BMS, solder the wires, then I'll come back and show you how the BMS connection is done. I have soldered my BMS, as we can see. Okay, this is on B minus, B1, B2, B3 and B plus. B minus goes to the minus side of the battery. The B1, B2, B3 goes to the 3 cells which are in positive, and B plus goes to the positive of the battery. Let's just connect our BMS and then solder our connections. Okay, you ought to be very careful as we are connecting. Okay, no harm checking and then double checking everything. Okay, this is our BMS is now connected via double-sided tape. Okay, I will now be using solder, very quickly soldering some of these areas. Okay, this is my negative connection. Let's have a look at it. We should quickly keep measuring at the same time. Double check everything, every connection, so that your battery as well as your cells or the BMS does not get spoiled. Right, this is my first connection. Right, here we are. negative goes to the positive. So this should give me the first voltage, which is 3.36, 3.37 volts. This is where our B1 will come in picture, right? B1 gets connected over here. I'll connect B1 on this place. Our B1 wire got connected to this positive wire. Okay. Here is our dry solder, as we can see, right? In such a case, take up a bit of sandpaper and rub off this area. Ensure that there is proper connection. Dry solder is not acceptable. Okay. The solder has come off. Let's just solder again. Here is our first B1 connection. Okay, now it's hard and comfortable. Okay, this solder came off, right? Let's sandpaper here again. We cannot have solder coming off, right? There was flux, I guess there was way more flux than it was needed. Okay, let's just do some connection quickly. Okay, here is our proper connection for this, right? Now we go on to our B2. This is our B2. B2 gets connected to this point. First, let me use a bit of sandpaper there, so we don't have an issue, right? After solder is caught on a little, we connect our wire. Right, there we are. We move on to the B3. Right, this is our B3 component. Okay. Again, I use a bit of sandpaper to sand this area so that the solder sits well, and I solder onto our third cell. Our third point is connected, B3 is connected. Finally, it's a question of connecting our B plus. This is our B plus. Again, let's sand it a little bit and apply solder in advance. Right, our battery is almost ready now. Let's check the voltage. Okay, let's check the voltage at the load area. Here we are. I'm getting 13.4647 volts. Okay, This shows it's working fine. I'll just connect some tapes onto the wire so that they are not loose, they are not hanging. Okay, we'll then seal everything up. I just put a bit of tape around the wires so that they are comfortable and they are all looking good. Okay, this is our negative, goes on to the first positive, okay, goes on to the next negative, and so on and so forth. As you can see, I have put in these separators between each of these cells so that it's easy. Yeah, there is some more separation, there is some more insulation so that the positive and negatives never really short with each other. Okay, and I kept a paper while working here because paper is the best insulator. Okay, you have to ensure that there is absolutely no electrical conductivity of any sort. Now we'll cover this entire area up with a Kapton tape. Okay, this Kapton tape is an excellent electrical conductor, electrical insulation, and I'll insulate all these areas, and I'll also insulate this area, right? After that we will be done. Our battery will be in principle ready, and we will then need to have a connections. Yeah, basically seal it all up with a epoxy sheet. Yeah, okay. I'll go ahead and connect the Kapton tape. Okay, our cells are now covered with Teflon, yeah, with Kapton tape, and here is our insulation paper. I'll also be connecting this insulation paper. Okay, not everybody does it, but it's a good idea to connect it. Okay, battery will be really safe and insulated nicely. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. This is brilliant. Our battery is now complete. Okay, I'll be closing it up, enclosing it completely in a shrink tube, yeah, shrink wrap tube. But let's again check our voltage at this point of time and see how much is the battery voltage. Okay, you can look at this. Okay, let's see how much is the battery voltage. There we are, 13.47. Okay, it's absolutely fine. I'll connect my two wires here, and then we are all ready. Okay, we are completely ready to enclose our battery, and it's all ready then. Here we are. Please check this out. Sure, you'll be able to see this now. Okay, there we are, right? The battery is now ready, completely ready. Okay, I've connected the wires, checked out the voltage, it's working fine, right? And now it's time to connect our heat shrink tube. All the batteries should be always enclosed in a heat shrink tube. I just cut up a small hole to take my wires out of the heat shrink tube. Okay, let's now connect our heat shrink tube. Okay. Okay, here is our heat shrink tube, right? This is gonna get connected. Okay, always use proper heat shrink tubes. Okay, use it slowly so that we are able to, this is my heat gun, use it really slowly, okay, so that the battery gets connected everywhere comfortably, right? The heat shrink gets comfortably connected and no bubbles are left. Do it really slowly. Here we are doing it slowly. Let's just wait. Let me remove everything else which is not necessary. Okay, I'll remove my wire stripper. Okay, we don't need our multimeter. We don't need the double-sided tape. We don't need the solder. Okay, we don't even need my spectacles. Anyway, I'll wear my spectacles now and I'll remove the Captain tape. Right? All I have is a battery and there we are. Always move your heat gun around. Do not keep it in one place. Never ever keep it in one place. Keep moving it around so that there are no bubbles. Okay. Keep moving it around. Do it really slowly. Yeah, as you can see, slowly the bubbles will vanish. There is no hurry. Do it slowly, nicely, steadily. All the bubbles will vanish. This is almost done. Okay, it's a little hot. Let it cool down. Also, we see that there are openings at both the ends, including where the BMS is connected. So I'll cut up a bit of heat shrink tube and connect it over there, and after that apply the heat shrink again. Okay, now I still have the sides, so I am putting in another heat shrink tube in this way, a bigger one, right? I'll cut off this heat shrink tube, connect it over here. This should be enough, right? Should be more than enough to cover it up. This is my heat shrink tube. So I'll have a blue heat shrink inside and a yellow one on top. Okay, this is my heat shrink tube. Gets connected. Again, I will ensure that there is some space for the wires. Yeah, I'll cut off an area so that the wires can come out of the heat shrink tube. Right? It's exactly the same as we did before. Slowly we start shrinking it. Okay, it's still hot, right? Let's just connect this. I'll heat up a little after I have just touched it. So you can see it's almost melting, it's heated up. That's nice. It's nice and hot. Okay, I connect it with just a piece of paper, something which does not burn my hand. Yeah, at the same time it gives me a good connection. We'll do the same on this side. Our battery is completely ready now. We just do the connections, right? Just to let you know, I had made this battery to charge the laptops. So this is right now a 12 volt 6 ampere hour battery, because each of my cells were 6 ampere hour, 4 of them are connected in series. So this is my 12 volt 6 ampere hour lithium iron phosphate battery. It's all ready, right? Let's check its voltage one last time. After that we are done with this. Okay, we are done a double heat shrink. We are connected a double heat shrink tube, which is good. Everything is good for the battery. Let's check out the voltage. Here we are. Right, as we can see, let me just connect the nodes properly. There we are, 13.46, 13.47 volts. Okay, battery is now completely ready. We'll start using it. First we'll charge it. It's 30% charge because it's made in because I use the original cells from the manufacturer itself. Okay, we'll charge the battery first. After that we'll start using it on our laptops. Thank you.